Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. After a year of bitter debate, the fight over health care reform finally reached a vote. Well, hey, Katie, we do have a Color 8 News exclusive, and insiders look at the massive relief effort going on in Haiti right now. More than 60% of Americans drink alcohol, while 1/4 avoid the buzz altogether. The snow-covered flowers and fading teddy bears still mark the spot where 7-year-old Sarah Fark died in her father's arms. Hey, Katie, a law enforcement standoff ends with the suspect taking his own life. Rocky Mountain College students have taken hands-on learning to a new level.
Up next, they and their bodies also get a break.
A lot of people would like to see a little break, Ed, from the snow.
Not for a little while yet. Take a look at the almanac.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation came rolling into Billings today
to show one boy that some dreams come in monster-sized packages. Katie, the massive healthcare reform bill is about to become law. Coming up at 6, we'll have a closer look at some of the ways it could affect you.
It has been nearly 2 years since a Warden girl was killed in a school bus crash.
The girl's father has spent the time since her death pushing for what he calls life-saving legislation.
Her nickname was Bear. She got that the day she was born. She was hard to bring into this world. You know, she wasn't supposed to be with us, and almost lost her during pregnancy. Oh, Sarah was the bright spot of our life.
Just about a mile from Sarah Fark's home in Warden, bus driver Roxanne Schultz failed to yield to an oncoming truck hauling gravel. She pulled in front of it, and the truck broadsided the school bus right where Sarah was sitting.
The impact forced Sarah through the window of the bus and out. I got a call from a friend of mine who had witnessed the wreck, and I was able to make it down there. She was cold. She said she was cold. She wanted her mommy. Told her to hang on, and she couldn't hold on.
The snow-covered flowers and fading teddy bears still mark the spot where 7-year-old Sarah Fark died in her father's arms. To this day, Randy Fark remains convinced that he can protect other families from having to live through the pain he's endured.
You know, I pray that another family never has to go through what we've gone through.
Almost 1 year after Sarah died, Fark says a bill to mandate seatbelts on new school buses in Montana died in a House committee at the 2009 legislative session. He's determined to resurrect the measure heading into the 2011 session.
I don't think that one child dying is acceptable.
It's an effort Montana Highway Patrol veteran Captain Keith Edgell understands, but believes will face certain roadblocks.
If I had to base it off of what I've seen with seatbelt laws, I would say that it probably would run up against some hardships. You know, we've run the last several legislative sessions trying to get a primary seatbelt law in Montana, and it's just not something that's well received. You know, things are different when it comes to children, and there may be a different look or a different view on that.
Still, Randy Fark remains committed to his journey.
You know, there's not a day that myself, my wife, my other children don't wake up and think of Sarah. It's going to keep happening. And other people are going to have to go through what we've gone through. And that is not worth it.
Though many people agree with Fark in theory, there are some heavy hitters who do not support seatbelts on school buses, namely the federal government and lawmakers increasingly concerned with funding. We'll have a closer look at the issue in part 2 of our series tomorrow, A Father's Journey. About 20 to 30 states introduce legislation each year to require the installation of seatbelts on school buses. A Warden man has made it his mission to get Montana to join the 17 states mandating seatbelts on new school buses.
I was one of them that was extremely naive about school buses. Never did it cross my mind that something like this could happen.
7-year-old Sarah Fark died in her father's arms after she was ejected from a school bus on Highway 312, just about a mile from her home in Warden.
I was able to make it down there and basically to say goodbye.
That was in April 2007.
She died with me holding her.
Now he's holding on to Sarah's memory as he plans to press the 2011 legislature to require new school buses to have seatbelts. A similar bill failed at the 2009 legislative session, but Fark says he will not give up.
I'm going to keep trying. I have to make a positive out of a negative. I guess Everybody's got their own way of healing.
The last bill estimated the cost of putting seatbelts on buses at $550 per seat, with the total statewide cost coming to $1.6 million. In the past, lawmakers suggested school districts levy local property taxes to pay for seatbelts on new buses. During a time where the governor is looking everywhere for ways to trim the budget, Fark knows cost is a factor, but he considers it a bargain for taxpayers.
I don't think we can go wrong with spending our tax dollars on our future.
Still, questions remain over who would be responsible for enforcing seatbelt use on buses and whether they indeed could save lives. Two influential groups within the federal government, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board, cite studies concluding the potential benefits of requiring seatbelts on large school buses were insufficient to justify a federal mandate for installation. Montana Highway Patrol Captain Keith Edgell acknowledges that without a federal recommendation, change is difficult at the state level.
The industry comes into play and cost comes into play, to retrofit that many buses across the state. There are other driving factors, I think, that legislators look at.
Randy Fark says researchers may consider his daughter an acceptable statistic, one of the average 6 school-age children to die each year in a school bus crash out of the 23.5 million transported in America.
I pray that another family never has to go through what we've gone through. It still hasn't gotten easier.
But with his daughter's memory in his heart and her picture in his hands, he says his journey to put a human face on the issue is far from over.
Next legislative session, I will be there. Sarah was put on this earth for a reason. I need to make Sarah live on and do good in the process.
The driver of the bus, Roxanne Schultz, received a 6-month suspended jail sentence. She was ordered to pay a $600 fine and complete 180 hours of community service.